Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, the World Series, ladies and gentlemen, is definitely what's happening. My goodness. Scoring left and right, home runs across the board. I think someone even threw a ball back. The NFL trade deadline, Zeke has been zapped. NBA news, including Cavs losing streak and players starting to air it out like dirty laundry on the clean line. Terrible in the Cleveland land, LeBron land. NCAA playoff picture as of today. WWE news, including some key releases and more, starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to Debate Amongst Friends, live on YouTube and on Twitch. This is episode 78 on November 1st, 2017. Welcome to November. To dismember. Oh wait, that's ECW. Sorry about that. I am your moderator, the Professor John Gotti, and I want to introduce to you the host with the most. He's no Sid Vicious, but he sometimes stumbles his lines. The dose of reality innovator himself. It's the Doc. How you doing tonight, sir?
Apparently, I can't keep my legs either.
Wow! You did not just go there. That's one of the videos that I showed you that you refused to watch again, and you used that line.
Hey, I mean, you heard that intro. I mean, it shouldn't have gone live. It should have been recorded. It should have been thrown in the trash.
Terrible.
Right in the trash.
This is live, buddy. Just like what JR said to Sid Vicious on that on that In Your House pay-per-view. This is live.
It is live. But how are you doing today, sir? Are you ready for a debate?
I'm ready for a debate. I'm ready to give some teams a dose of reality. I'm ready to lay down the truth for the people.
So you're living in a house of truth?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going with that.
But before, of course, we get started here, of course, we got to welcome my main man, your main man. It's the Duke.
Yeah, man, I'm like a prom date. I'm just full of optimism, but ready to make some mistakes. Let's do it.
As long as you're not a prom night dumpster baby, it's all good, right?
Oh,
hey.
So that's how we're starting this show.
I mean... We talked about before we started, like, we're going to go live, we're just going to shoot from the hip, like, whatever happens, as long as we don't, have the FCC on our backs. As well as Helen.
I mean, I think we're...
Duke, I don't know if you heard the show last week, but Doc Ocean had to pay the Duke fine.
I did. I forget what I said, but I definitely had to pay it. I don't remember what I said. I don't even think it was that bad, honestly. Whatever it was that I said.
Even when you're not here, your influence remains.
Dude, that's a hefty price to pay.
I don't think whatever it was, sir.
It was pretty bad. It actually was pretty bad.
I don't remember it. I really don't think it was that bad, though. Honestly.
Like real quick, what the heck happened to Chris? Like, I come in. This fool's in the hallway doing the money dance. He sees me, runs in the bathroom. I haven't seen him since.
Wow.
Yeah, so apparently the bigwigs out in Business Amongst Friends decided to hire Chris full-time. So he is no longer our intern. He is now a full-time hourly employee. So, first of all, let's give a round of applause for Chris for, stepping it up. Just stepping it up. Okay, that's enough of that.
No, this will not stand. New life mission. Get Chris fired.
Dang.
So funny.
Well, Chris is out there in the booth. He kind of gave you a wave, but I think it was more sarcastic. So we'll see what happens in the upcoming weeks, folks. Be sure to tune in and listen to what Chris and the Duke do, I guess.
No, absolutely.
This is
But we do. We definitely have to skip past Chris. We don't want him to take over the show almost as if he's LeBron James.
wow. Did you just go there?
I did. We don't want Chris to become LeBron James.
Wow. Wow.
Unless we do want Chris to become LeBron James. And then
I think we should get started with our dossier.
Yeah, no one.
So about this World Series, bro.
Which is currently in progress. For those who are not watching, the Houston Astros are up 2-0 from a home run and a RBI in the top of the first. So they're at the bottom of the second right now, and Yasiel Puig is at the plate at a 1-1 count with 2 outs.
So 2-0 apparently means nothing in
Yes.
this World Series. 3-0 means nothing. Heck, 4-0 means nothing in these what we call World Series. It's what's happening next that's most important. I mean, we're looking at all right, people. I'm gonna be honest. I'm no Senor October. I'm more of a Doc November. I watch baseball when it's almost over. I'll be honest here. World Series, playoff baseball is what I watch, but more importantly, World Series. And I didn't watch Game 1. I didn't watch Game 2. The Doc definitely didn't watch Game 3. He might have caught a squiggle of Game 4. But what the Doc... Exactly. But what the Doc will say is that he watched Game 5 in its entirety, as long as he can keep his eyes open.
I'm not gonna lie, he definitely put the effort.
I did. I really did. and that's for Game 5 and 6 when I got back home from Tampa, which is later on in the show. I'm going to tell these people what happened in Tampa. But the World Series, ladies and gentlemen, I did my best Game 5. I said, okay, I think the Professor John Gotti went off. He said, hey, you know what? I've been traveling up and down the road. I'm going to go take a shower. You go ahead and you let me know what happens. Once the professor shut the door, the LA Dodgers went up by 4. I mean, the minute the door closed, the score started to rise. I then said, oh my goodness, this game might be over. Then all of a sudden you look, and then here comes the Astros just battling back, chugging along. Chicka. Toot, toot.
Wow. Wow. He did not just do that bit.
He did. But they tied the game up, people. And I mean, when I saw this, I was like, the game is 0-0 now. And we talked about, the pitching. I know Senor October talked about the trade deadline for the MLB and how serious the pitching was. Well, we had 2 pretty solid pitchers. Obviously, we had Kershaw on the mound. And the pitcher from the Astros who...
That was Keuchel?
Yeah, he typically, according to announcers, now again, I'm no October, but I know your starting pitcher can't have 50 pitches through the first 2 innings and expect you to have a great game. So the fact that he was able to get out of a lot of the jams here and they left him in so long really made me skeptical of this whole game. So what I noticed, though, and this is the part that I guess Kershaw faced in Game 5, and then Verlander in Game 6 faced, but when a pitcher's in the dugout trying to keep his arm warm, it's great that the Dodgers were scoring all these runs. I mean, it is fantastic. But on the other side, your pitcher's arm is getting cold. I mean, and we all ask the question. I mean, what's cooler than being cold?
Wow.
Ice cold.
Wow. That's two. That's two.
I mean, what's cooler than being cool?
Ice code.
Ice cold. And that's exactly what his arm was. So when he came out and he gave up that home run, I was like, well, this is supposed to be one of the best pitchers in the MLB.
I'm so salty right now.
I mean, but it started to dawn on me. I was like, man, it's like, it's almost like the Astros played a reverse defense on them. They were like, hey, we'll give up these runs. Kershaw's going to get cold. And, you know, what's cooler than cold? Again, ice cold. And then we'll just wait till he ices himself out of the game. All of a sudden, third, fourth inning, he can't control his fastball, can't control his curveball, can't control practically any pitch, then gives up a home run. So, pitching in this series hasn't had the impact, I'll say, that even Senor October would have imagined that it would. And I think that's so crazy.
I think the general consensus heading into these World Series is the start of the series. It was a pitcher's duel. It was a pitcher's duel, and we kind of expected it to be that way throughout the entire series. The game that you're talking about, just Game 5,
right,
was nowhere near a pitcher's duel.
It was.
It was like they took the concept of a pitcher's duel, shined it up real nice, opened the door, and threw it out the window. See, you thought I was going to go somewhere else with that.
I did, and that
because
was
they scored over 10 runs each. It went into the 10th inning, and it was a single RBI, an RBI single to end the game. But they were just going back and forth with each other. It was absolutely incredible. And, of course, I was in the shower when I began to see the run. But as soon as I got out the shower, I felt like I didn't miss a thing.
Because it was 0-0 at that time.
Because every single time you blink, it was back to neutral. It was back to normal. It was just back to 0-0.
And it's funny because I actually kept dozing in and out, and I was like, "Oh God, I heard a home run." I think I heard a home run.
I think most of the time you just heard me just be like, "Oh, snap! That's a home run!" Oh!
It's really rough, man. It was really rough.
I mean, and I got to tell you, folks. I mean, I don't see Doc Ocean get hyped for any other sport other than football. Maybe basketball once in a while, but he got hype for Game 4 and Game 5.
I can agree with that. And again, baseball, not really my thing. Not really. But when it comes to the World Series, and you don't have, and this is probably one of the better World Series that we've had in a very long time,
Offensively, absolutely. It's high. It generated more views because of how high octane of offenses both teams are.
It's almost like we got continued doses of reality.
You just wanted to use that. That's a bad way to use it. That's a bad way to use it.
Come on. You're not going to give me credit for that one?
You're going to get half a point for that.
Oh my God. Just can't wait, man.
These shoots are hard, man. You got to earn those.
It's so unbelievable. Continue.
Oh my goodness. I mean, and we're still watching the game right now, and it's only the top of the second, and Darvish is already up to 30 pitches.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, and that's something that we didn't even get a chance to talk about, Darvish, and that I don't know if that's a hand symbol slur.
It wasn't. It was a facial gesture that was highly racist, and what the player did was,
which is terrible.
It did a thing where he took his fingers, put it to the edges of his eyes, and then pulled them back towards this pitcher.
I hate the fact that he's not going to be suspended until next year. I kind of don't like it. I think that's
mean,
weak. That's weak. That's weak sauce, bro.
to give a hypothetical, if this was your Houston Rockets and James Harden did something obscene that I know, you know, the American people know that he should be suspended for, and this is the NBA Finals, and he didn't get suspended, would you still feel the same way?
Is this player on the level of James Harden, you're saying? Are you comparing this player
No,
to James Harden
I am not.
right now?
I am offering a
Give me a
hypothetical.
give me a true comparison. Are
I
you
am
saying
offering a hypothetical
if he was a
comparison.
Trevor Ariza or a Ryan Anderson or
No, because if you say Ryan Anderson, you're gonna be like, bye.
yeah, like and that's the way I'm looking at it. Like, is this guy somebody like, hey, if he doesn't play, the game might just not sell the tickets. That guy who threw the pitch or threw the home run back, people wouldn't be so mad because the guy who hit the home run is more of a, let's say, Aaron Afwalo.
Wow. Did you really just do that?
I mean, I'm just keeping it honest, man. Just keeping it
I feel like
real
that was a
out
little bit
here.
of trolling right there.
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if it was if it was James Harden, of course, my bias would be like, hey, no, don't. This is ridiculous. Oh, I can't believe this is happening. Wow, he didn't even pull him back that far. You know what I mean? Like, I would go above and beyond, of course, to defend it. Oh my God, it wasn't even derogatory. I've seen worse. Blah blah blah. Like, what happens? What about when people say chicken fried rice? Those kind of things. Like, things like that happen all the time. I'm sorry, but
the reason why I asked you the hypothetical question is that's how the MLB treated the situation. Because they're trying to generate the most drama to get more views, which also presents more buys.
But at the same time, it's like when you think about it, it's 199,000 games in a season.
Okay, that's a little. I mean, I get what you're trying to say, but.
So it's like I could see if he, like, the World Series check that he would miss would be so much bigger than this. He's gonna miss 6 games next year.
He's gonna miss 5 games next year. It's 5 games.
He might as well miss 10 games. It doesn't matter. Like, it's a slap on the wrist. And I mean, and this is, think about it. We talk about Zeke a lot, and everything. Like, I felt Zeke should have been suspended, of course, immediately.
We'll get to that, but yes.
But you know what I mean. But when we go to it and we compare it to that, it's gonna seem ridiculous.
Yes.
But I digress. So Udovich is up to probably 40 pitches now since we started talking to him. Probably
he is up to
plus.
36.
He's getting close. I feel like going on. Sorry.
Wow. That's 3.
I had a 5 heartbeat moment. I'm sorry. I feel like again, back to what I was saying earlier, I feel like the pitching just isn't where it either should be, or the pitching isn't as important. Because I know the announcers have made a big stink about people not hitting well. People not connecting well. Oh, this young player here, he's 0 for 2, then all of a sudden he hits a home run, or he's 0 for 4 on a night.
Oh, you're talking about Cody Bellinger. Who was like 0 for 12 and then got like 2 doubles back to back.
Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about. Because again, I'm no October. I just want to make sure I keep putting that out there because that's not me. That's not pain.
Wow.
But
Wow.
He's pulling all of them out the bag tonight.
He really is. How many is that? Are we keeping track of this right now?
Oh yeah, that's
Is that
5.
4? Is that 5? Oh
Yeah,
my
that's 5.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
He should be like, we're not playing baseball right now.
No, but I think the World Series has been great so far. I think this is probably, like, again, the most offensively exciting World Series we've had in a while, and it's going to be a wild finish, and I look forward to seeing the end of it.
Which is tonight.
Yeah, look forward to seeing who comes out on top, and apparently Yu Darvish gets a chance to really and honestly get some payback when you think about it.
Well, he needs to settle down, and he needs to follow his game plan, and make the hitters more uncomfortable. Like right now, he just threw it outside the box for a ball. Like, and I get it. I mean, the umpire for the last 2 games was pretty good.
Well, I'll say the umpire in Game 5, Diaz, phenomenal.
Yes.
The umpire in no, I'm sorry.
It was Game 5. There was the guy who we kept saying, how come we can hear him so well?
So maybe I did watch Game 4.
Yes. Game 4 was the one that you started getting hyped.
Yes, so I did watch Game 4. Game 4's umpire was pretty good. Game 5, I think that was another thing when you stepped away. That particular umpire, if you put a ball,
and Houston just scored again.
Wow.
On a fielder's choice. Salud. See, Doc is so hype that his allergies are kicking in. That's how much he wants this. He enjoys his World Series. See, I could do it too.
Wow. I was gonna say the umpire from Game 5. I felt him calling the game was so interesting because there were times where there were some balls out there, and he was calling them strikes, and you could see the frustration on some of the players' faces as the placement of the ball was so off, and you could just see the players are just like, well, I don't really know what the heck to do because this umpire is calling some terrible plays, and what the heck. But the one, I will say this, we always say in football, don't let the referee win or lose the game for you. You know, don't leave it in their hands. And I guess in this situation, the umpires, it would be the same exact thing. You can't let the umpires win or lose the game for you. So, I mean, contact with the bat, I think the Dodgers do a great job of running the count up. And if they do that tonight, if they continue to do that, I think the Dodgers are going to win, regardless of what the score is right now. And I did say
is that your prediction, sir? Is that what the people are hearing right now?
No, I'm just saying if they go out there and do what they've been doing, running up the count, they're gonna win. I can't give a prediction. This World Series is crazy. You know it. I know it.
The American people know it.
Dang right they do. What's happening here? Anything crazy happening? But I definitely know we have to definitely move on. I know we've been on baseball for a hot minute here.
I see what you did there.
Hot minute. Hot. Sorry.
No problem. And it's good because you really wanted to talk about the World Series, and we did that.
I did, and I wish, and I think the reason why I keep mentioning October, because I really do wish October was here, because I really wanted to ask him some specific questions and get his take on the pitching, on the hitting, but more importantly, on those officials, the umpires, But we'll have to do that during the recap show, hopefully next week, right here, Wednesday night, on Wednesday night debate.
Wow.
That's it.
Sorry. But moving on here to the NFL, we had an interesting trade deadline. Definitely had some head scratchers. I would say one head scratcher, two head scratchers, excuse me, for me at least. The third one would be more of a finally kind of thing. And I just want to get your take on these.
Hold everything. Breaking, it is now 5-0 with a 2-run home run shot. Oh boy, by Springer.
Who I was just talking about?
No.
Who were we talking about before?
Who were you talking about before?
Bellinger. You said Bellinger.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger. That was for the Dodgers.
Bellinger was another one, though. I think he's the one that got hype after a home run in another game. I think they were calling him Kirk Cousins, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I think it was Correa. That was Correa.
Either way, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was a beauty. Wow, look at that. Center field shot, too.
So, perfect. That's absolutely perfect. So, looking at the NFL trade deadline here before the Astros score another point, how did you guys feel about these two trades? And then we'll go into the last trade, and I thought was crazy, of course.
All right.
But kind of expected. The Buffalo Bills acquiring Kelvin Benjamin. What the heck? Duke, how did you feel about that? Come on. When you read that across your ticker, because I know what me and my coworkers felt, but when you saw that across your ticker, what was the first thing you thought?
I mean, honestly, and again, I don't typically follow the seasons outside of, my one or two favorite teams too hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of saw that and I laughed to myself a little bit. I'm like, I don't know exactly what he's gonna do in Buffalo. It kind of like the trade kind of blew my mind from a use perspective.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is what I have to say about that. That's a good observation, but the Bills did trade Sammy Watkins, which was, crazy within itself. They did trade Sammy Watkins to the St. Louis Rams, who's still trying to find his spot there and trying to, get his footing.
Wait a minute. Did you just say St. Louis Rams?
Yes, you did.
They're still St. Louis Rams to me.
There's a lot of people in St. Louis that are butthurt right now.
Fine. The Los Angeles Rams.
They're still butthurt.
Okay. So, when I saw this trade, of course, just seeing him score a touchdown on Tampa Bay, I was pretty shocked by the trade. I'm sure there's some behind-the-scenes things that are happening, but Professor, what did you feel when you first saw the trade?
I think I actually like the trade. I like the trade because Tyron do need another big piece, someone downfield that can help him out, definitely in the red zone. I feel like Kelvin Benjamin can definitely just come into that offense and help out there. Plus, he can throw up the ball, and, one of the things that we keep talking about that a lot of coaches and even analysts talk about, you have to have that one person on the team that a quarterback can just toss it up to and basically make it a jump ball, knowing that your guy is going to get it at a high percentage.
Do you feel like did the Panthers give up on him too soon?
Yes, absolutely.
And
but
why? Why did they do this? I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it.
But the part that baffles me is I don't know if it's because the Panthers gave up on the Panthers.
I mean, they just won a game. I mean, obviously it's against the Bucks, and they only scored 17 points.
We'll get to there. We'll get to there.
Great, but neither here nor there.
Tell us how you really feel, Doc.
I'm sorry. continue.
No, please. Let's talk about the other ones.
All right. So the other one that was interesting, and I when this one came across my ticker, I really almost lost it, and unfortunately, I was sitting next to a Redskins fan who was like, "Dude, are you serious?" And I said, "I think they're pretty serious."
I think they're really serious.
So, the Dolphins traded Jay Ajayi to the Eagles. What the heck? LeGarrette Blount
and
Jay
Jay
Ajayi.
And
Good for the Eagles, I guess.
and they still got Darren Sproles too.
Well, Sproles, I think, is out for the season.
He is out for the season. You're right.
Yeah, he's out for the season.
Who is the other running back?
I think they have. Let's get Chris on that. He's a full-time guy. You said, right?
He is a full-time guy. He's getting hourly paid now.
I need you to pull that up here, Chris, and stop it.
It's gonna be all slacking on his laurels now. He's got HR on his side.
Just running backs. Okay, I see what you're doing there. They have a guy named Corey Clement, who's a rookie. He's actually from New Jersey. He actually is, I think, the guy who comes in and kind of splits with LeGarrette Blount. And maybe they just felt like he wasn't the guy who would carry the load when LeGarrette Blount
I think it was Donald Pumphrey was the person taking. It was him and Wendell Smallwood is taking a lot of the load. And LeGarrette Blount is taking like those short yardage and red zones.
When I look, whenever I see them, I always see Clement in the game. So maybe the games that I watched, Clement was in, and maybe they moved to Smallwood. But I think
that's possible.
At this point, we know who's getting the ball. Ajayi is the new running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, I asked the same question.
Which I think it's highly beneficial for them because they can have Ajayi do a lot of the workload, and then if they get to the red zone, between 1 to 10 yards out, then LeGarrette Blount finishes the job. And one of the things that they compared it to was one of the Giants teams when they had Amon Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs. They had Brandon Jacobs to be the bulk, and they had Ahmad Bradshaw to be, the speed, the finesse.
Now, this move makes me feel like the Dolphins gave up on the Dolphins.
The Dolphins gave up on the Dolphins after they signed Jay Cutler. And yes, I went there.
Wow.
I went there. Yeah, it was Wendell Smallwood. Wendell Smallwood was the number 2 back after Darren Sproles went out.
I can't believe you said that, though.
No one's going to disagree with me, though.
I mean, I said it, and I think it's almost time for me to go. I think I was holding off for a long time to troll J. Rich, who said that Cutler was a good sign because he knows the offense. And I felt how I was sitting here like, how stupid is that when the offense is no good?
The offense is no good.
So,
other than their top receiver, who,
was also on the trade block.
Yeah.
So, I sit there and I'm like, what the heck? So, all right, guys. All right. Okay. So those two, we'll just call those anomalies.
I mean, we potentially have another case of Earth, Wind, and Fire.
We do. We really do. But let's look at another one here. And this would be one of the last ones, I would say. When I looked at it, I was like, all right. We kind of expected, but didn't expect this one. The New England Patriots trading Jimmy Garoppolo. I felt the other two, the Dolphins, the Panthers. I think the Dolphins are definitely giving up and tanking to try to get somebody big. Clearly, if they tank now, they're in the running for Shaquan. Because I think that's where everybody's going to start going. Trying to get that number one pick to get this Barkley kid out of Penn State. But the Patriots trade Jimmy Garoppolo, which means Belichick might have went in and said, "Hey, Tom, I just want to know, how's your body feeling? Were you serious about playing till 45, or were you just kidding? Not too many quarterbacks can play to 45. I know you've been taking a few hits. Bill. I'm playing till I'm 45.
It's me, baby. I'm good.
You smell me, baby. I smell like money."
I mean, do you feel like that's how it went down, or am I just tripping?
Honestly, as soon as I saw that one, that's the one that surprised me. Because I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Brady's Brady, but dude, Brady's not Superman. Like, everybody has limits. And what the heck are you going to do if Brady actually gets injured this year?
Well,
I don't wish that on him, but I'm just saying.
Well, see, that's where it gets crazy, Sarge, because they signed Brian Hoyer.
And Brian Hoyer was the starting quarterback for those 49ers. And after the trade, the 49ers dropped him like a bad habit, in which the Patriots signed him for a 3-year contract.
And that's where it got weird, because I'm like, well, why didn't they just include him in the trade? Like, why not just include him in the trade? Why go through the trouble of letting him get waived, having him think, hey, got to go home to my wife and tell her, hey, I got let go. Even though she could turn on ESPN and see it, but it's like,
I'm pretty sure his wife knew before he knew.
Wow.
Probably.
I mean, it's not the first time we see like trades and people getting let go before they actually was aware of it. I mean, we had a situation like that, I believe, last season for baseball, where someone got traded mid-game, which is rough.
But I mean, I was pretty shocked. I agree with Duke, though. I was pretty shocked with that one also. I think it was shocking because the Patriots made it seem like they wouldn't trade him for anything. I'm sure they could have gotten a first-round pick from the Browns, but they opted to go with a team. And again, maybe they said, we don't want to send him to an AFC team, which makes sense.
I mean, the only other team that he would possibly, be able to go to is the Dolphins, and who gives a crap about the Dolphins?
I was almost positive, 100% sure that Colin Kaepernick's name would have gotten called.
For the Patriots, no, and that goes more for political reasons why that's not going to happen.
Well, see, that's what I was saying. It's like, when you think about it, it was really like, whenever something happens, especially in America, like, I always feel like it's the Patriots. When 9/11 happened, I think the Patriots won that Super Bowl. It's ironic, but it happened. You know what I mean? Like, I always feel like the Patriots are the team that things just happen for or with, because it just makes too much sense.
Which brings up a very interesting debate. Are the Patriots America's new team?
Wow.
Just saying.
America's new team.
So, as everyone knows, I am in Texas right now.
He is.
So, let's talk about this.
I mean, let's do it, Bobby.
Lightning round.
I will say that the Dallas Cowboys have not been America's team since their last championship. And the Cowboys plus their fan base has been riding on the jockeys of championships for what, 30 years ago? 20 years ago?
We'll say 20.
Yeah, it was 20 years.
They've been underwhelming during the season. They, have an abysmal playoff record. We're going to talk about the next subject later, but they have a lot of issues as far as personnel.
They do. Well,
sure. Could we call Patriots America's team? That's definitely up for debate. The Packers are still up there too. And there's a huge fan base for the Steelers.
I think that's fair to say, though. I think it's fair to say that you could put the Patriots in the discussion.
Yes.
I do think that's fair. I think where it gets foul is, of course, everybody continuously accusing them of cheating.
Is it accusing of cheating? Or are you just talking about like every single game, like the Patriots find a way to win because, it's something happening that leads to cheating?
It sounds like you're doing a tomato kind of thing.
I'm just trying to understand where you're trying to go with this, because they got caught for cheating twice.
It sounds like you're doing something with your mouth, like you're saying something, but you're kind of like, it's kind of the same thing almost. Like, I hear
like an old coach of mine.
You
ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I see what you say there. I would say this: the Patriots are the perfect heel team for the NFL.
See, I thought the Cincinnati Bengals were a great heel team.
No, the Cincinnati Bengals are the best overrated team. They're and if we was to compare this to wrestling, they're the Great Khali.
I have to disagree with that. I don't think they're overrated. I think
they're overrated.
I don't think they have the skill. I think
they have the skill. They just lose it themselves.
I don't agree, man.
Whether it's injuries, whether it's just Andy Dalton doing something, or Vontae Burfict continually getting fined and possibly suspended. I
wouldn't have been surprised if the Bengals would have traded Andy Dalton.
Yeah, all right, granted.
No, they're heavily invested in Andy Dalton. I don't see that happening.
But the reason why I bring that up is because for all the reasons that everybody considers the Cowboys America's team, the Patriots have met or surpassed, and it's been more recently. So I'm like, I don't be knowing.
So you feel like that the Patriots, then, in your opinion, are the Patriots America's team, then?
I feel like we might
based off of what they've been doing, the championships that they've been winning, the ability to still get into the playoffs with under average receivers other than Gronk.
Yeah. Which just all the more goes to why the argument could be made. I'm like, if the commission and cheating can't take them down, if the commission and cheating couldn't take them down, if players, basically getting, or I should say good players getting traded couldn't bring them down, if refs calling calls only against them in the game couldn't take them down.
If Doc Osha can't keep them down because Chris has been trolling him today, ladies and gentlemen, Chris, who is our new full-time employee, decided to go after the doc.
Dude, I told you, as soon as he gets hired, I told Helen Good he was going to start slacking.
I don't even know if I'm going to come across loud on the show or...
Like I said, I told you, man, you just got to catch Chris in the parking lot.
Oh, catch Chris in the parking lot so he can catch these hands.
Just saying.
And yes, if you use that stupid catchphrase, that is an automatic disqualification. That's an automatic technical foul right there. That's like automatic.
Like, I really don't even know what to do right now.
Well, you got to put these paws on him.
Oh my gosh. But
like, you might have to turn.
I still go back to my reasoning. The Patriots are the perfect heel team. Like, they just get under everyone else's skin. They make people hate them.
Look,
they make them hate them.
Honestly, that just means you're doing something right.
Exactly. Like, we had that with the Golden State Warriors. They're the heel team now. Which is weird because it should be Andy LeBron. Exactly. You know, we had that. I mean, the Yankees always been a heel team because everyone hates the Yankees because they feel like that their fan bases are pompous, you know, so and so's. But you know, we didn't have our last title 20 years ago. That's all I'm trying to say.
I mean, I disagree. I don't know if I'm coming in loud again. I'm sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
Okay. I was gonna say I kind of disagree with the Yankees part only because, you know, the thing with baseball is hard to be a heel or a face team because there's no salary cap.
There is no salary cap.
When you say, hey, the only reason you're winning is because you're buying a championship. I mean, literally, you're buying a championship. You know, like, we hate the Cavs because they're buying a championship in a salary cap era. You know,
maybe
they try to, yeah. We hate let's just say the Warriors because, you know, Kevin Durant joined and it's like you sold out. Because before Kevin Durant joined, we didn't hate the Warriors. We just felt I felt that they sorry. God, I can't believe you're doing that. Dang it, John Gotti. They felt like, I felt like they built a team through the draft. Their scouting department clearly, you know, had the right guys, and then you add Kevin Durant, it's like, wow, you know. But with the Cowboys, even considering and thinking that they would be America's team anymore, it's like Wayne Gretzky's still playing. You know, it's like, you know, somewhere Michael Jordan's still playing. I think in their mind, like, we're talking 20 years, 1996. Do you know in 96, even I was still a Cowboys fan.
I was never a Cowboys fan.
I'm not gonna lie, but see, I think this is the thing with me is that I was a Cowboys fan more or less because I liked Emmitt Smith. I was a huge Emmitt Smith fan. But then when I realized that I really wasn't a Cowboys fan, I was a Emmitt Smith fan, it would be the same, almost the equivalent of somebody saying, hey, I'm a LeBron fan. And we would accept that. We accept that all the time.
Absolutely.
Don't say you're a Cavs fan because those Cavs fan didn't exist when Mark Price was there.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So me being able to come out and say, hey, I was an Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Charles Haley, you know, Leon Lett. I was a fan of these guys. Larry Allen. Not the Dallas Cowboys, but the Patriots, America's team. So I can't even get my notes here because my computer is just I can't even control alt delete right now, and so We're definitely shooting from the hip here. I know.
Chris!
I could see my tabs here. It looks like we were going to start talking about the Ezekiel Elliott
suspension.
Yes. Like I can't even. Yeah, I just can't. The
6-game suspension is now upheld again. So now Ezekiel Elliott will finally be serving his 6-game suspension. Shannon Sharp predicted this was going to happen. He said it's better for Zeke to serve the 6 games at the beginning of the season because it's going to hurt the Cowboys more once he begins to start eating. You know, the whole... Zeke, the last 2 weeks, has started eating. Getting over 100 yards both games. And now the team is going to be without him for the next 6 games.
Which means my dreams come true. Trent Richardson, 1,000-yard back.
If they sign Trent Richardson, I mean, we might have to buy a championship belt for the Doc if that happens.
Wouldn't that be sweet though?
We might have to do that.
Oh, I gotta add this. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I think they'll be fine. I really think that offensive line is so good that, I mean, does it really matter? Like, honestly, does it matter?
I would disagree. I don't think they're as good as they was last year because they did lose 4 key pieces on that O-line. They're still good, but they're not to that elite level as last year's O-line.
I was about to say, dude, I felt like I could have put an 8-year-old with a club foot behind that line, and he probably could have walked it into the end zone last year.
I mean,
not to take anything away from Dak and Zeke, but what other point in NFL history have 2 rookies come out and damn near won a championship?
The Redskins with RG3 and Alfred Morris.
So another time that we can think of.
2 rookies?
Yeah.
Not like I don't even think they did it.
Okay, let me take that back. Let me rephrase. 2 starting rookies. I don't want anybody to come up with some bench warmers. Like no. 2 starting rookies.
Because you know that's what Chris was looking for.
That's exactly what Chris was looking for. Ooh.
That's a good point. Wait, somebody threw a nasty slider or something?
No, hit by pitch for Turner for the Dodgers. It's 2 people on base. Bottom of the 3rd. Houston is still up 5-0.
I don't think I've seen anybody. I mean, there's been some close calls, but I don't really think too many people. I don't feel like the pitchers wanted to waste any pitches. I will say that. Excuse me, I'm just working with Chris remotely to fix my computer.
He's not very happy about this, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not, because it's like, what the heck? But
he kind of most likely definitely want to give someone a dose of reality after the show.
So Zeke being suspended.
Yes.
6 games.
6 games. And we're at which week of the season right now?
This is week 7 or 8.
This is week 8.
I think it's 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is now out until week 14. So won't be able to play until week 15.
Yep.
So do the count. How many games? I mean, how many games can they win? What do you think? I mean, over or under 3-3? Well,
they have a pretty rough patch coming up. They do have to play. Wow. How many is that, Duke, right now? What's the number right now? Where are we at right now with this?
We're at 8.
Okay. Thank you. Wow. He's going for the jugular tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Come on.
So All right, hold on. Let's go ahead and break this down.
Let's break
for
this
the
down.
next 6 games. All right.
Well, the next 3 is a rough patch for them. They're playing the Chiefs
Yes.
this Sunday. Then they're playing the Falcons, which that could be a toss-up as far as who can win that one. And then they're playing the Eagles.
Wow.
Right. Which that one I think they'll take.
The Cowboys going to take that one?
Against the Eagles?
Yeah.
No way. Oh God, no way.
Hey, look, I want a steak dinner if I actually turn out to be right on that one. Just saying.
Hey, you come out here and we'll definitely have Scott function and finance a trip out to Rick's Chop House.
I'm keep it
I
pretty
just don't see
part
it.
8.
Where we can sit there and enjoy our favorite beverage, which is our unofficial official sponsor tonight, Stella Artois. Pick it up at your local grocery store, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to drink responsibly and don't drink and drive.
The Eagles are playing some great and inspired football, and you're adding in Ajayi, and you're saying that the Cowboys can beat them?
Mm-hmm. So
I said might. I said I think they will take that one.
So let's get the other 3 out the way so we can give our prediction on what will be their record during these 6 games. So following that week, they face off against the Chargers. Then they're at home against the Redskins again. And then they're playing the New York Football Giants in New Jersey.
So 3-3. Yeah, I think it's a dead even.
I think so
Unless
too.
they lose to the Redskins. That's the only other team, because they struggled against the Redskins in this last game, and I think the only reason they won was because of Zeke.
It was because of Zeke.
It's a rough one. I will say that is a rough one.
I think they'll be 2-4.
What are the losses? I'm curious.
The losses will be the Chiefs,
Definitely,
the Eagles.
without question.
I feel like the Redskins can probably skate by
Wow.
because of the Zeke situation.
Okay.
And of course,
All
this
right,
is just saying that. And the other game that they'll win is that they'll lose is against the Falcons.
Okay.
So they'll beat the Chargers and they'll beat the Cowboys. And they'll beat the Giants, sorry.
The Falcons are such an interesting team, and I don't know, man. I really don't. Like, I feel like the Falcons are good. They're just so iffy.
They're good when the stars align.
Yes.
Right, or they're playing the Bucks.
Yes. But you know what? Let me explain my logic on this. All right?
Go for it.
So the very next game they have is the Chiefs. No matter what they did, odds are they were going to lose that one.
Unless the
Right.
Chiefs
And
don't
it's
show
at-
up to play. If the
Well,
Chiefs
and
don't
that's
show up
true.
to play. Yeah.
That's true.
Like how they
But
did. Well, not really not show up the last 2 weeks, but they lost the last 2 weeks.
Right. And, they have something to prove.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys are playing at home. They're playing without Zeke for the first week in this 6-game suspension.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're going to have a little bit of air let out of their balloon.
Yeah.
And, I kind of feel like because of that, whether the Chiefs show up or not, they're probably going to lose. It's just a matter of what's the margin. But then, okay, fine. So, you get knocked around a little bit. Then we skip on to the
also
next.
the Chiefs get Tom Bahali back this week too.
Aha! So the plot thickens.
I don't know
So
if that matters or not, though.
I mean, they're gonna
I
have him be
don't.
limited, but that's another person for the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys to pay attention to.
Exactly. And once again, in a team that's already going to be deflated.
Woo!
Like, that's kind of where I'm getting at with this. So, okay, fine. You get that first week out the way. We go back to the drawing board. We work out some kinks. We figure out how to make this work. Then you go to Atlanta and you play the Falcons. And again, if the moon and the stars are aligned just right, Falcons might just knock the snot out of them.
Wow.
Possibly. But, okay,
Wow.
fine. Now you've had 2 weeks to try and fine-tune this. Get your errors, your corrections, whatever it is you need to do. Because now you come back home and you play the Eagles. And you can't lose 2 home games in a row.
Yeah.
Not if you're the Cowboys. Not in Dallas.
You shouldn't. Okay. All right. So let's ask a serious question here then.
Ask a serious question.
Zeke doesn't play. Cowboys go 1-5. Does Jason Garrett keep his job at the end of the season?
Yes, and I already told you why. He'll still keep his job.
Why?
It's for the Cowboys. It's never about what have you done for me lately. It's never about that.
Wow. It should be.
It's not. It's not.
It should
And
be,
I understand why you would say that, but it's not.
So John Gruden says, "Hey, I want to come coach the Cowboys." I mean, he says no.
Who, Jerry says no?
Yeah. And I don't mean J5.
That's 9.
That's that right there. That's a tech right there. Wow. No. If John Gruden says, "Hey, I want to get back into coaching and I want to coach the Cowboys," I think what Jerry would do is make sure there's a demotion instead of a firing.
Jason Garrett would become offensive coordinator?
Exactly, or a quarterbacks
Never.
coach.
Never, because he really plays now.
He really likes Jason Garrett. I'm just trying to get that through everyone's head. He really likes Jason Garrett.
Does he like Jason Garrett more than winning?
This is Jerry Jones we're talking about. This is Jerry Jones we're talking about. Yeah, he loves to win, but he likes to win with his people.
Yeah, that is.
But if his people are losers, I mean, we saw what happened to Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips was actually, I would say, a little more successful than Jason Garrett. He just had a couple rough stretch at the end.
Yeah, after he hired what's his name as defensive coordinator, and their defense was like one of the worst in league history.
But I feel like the Cowboys are always
Bob Ryan, that's what it was. Bob Ryan.
They're always kind of sketchy, but oh yes, okay, I see what you're talking about there. But I mean, I think everybody did the same thing because even when he went to the Saints, it was the same way. So, but I know we have to keep moving on. I know we've been talking about football for a while here, and we do have to get to the NBA, and unfortunately, we have to.
Well, and I want to talk about that last trade because it was something that I've definitely found very interesting because this team is hot, which was the Texans, who just recently lost to the Seahawks, making a trade with those very same Seahawks to send their left tackle over to the Seahawks for a draft pick. I find it really interesting because I think that enhanced that O-line for the Seahawks to help out Russell Wilson a little bit more.
I can agree with that. I don't understand how good teams continue to get better and how other teams help them get better.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why this trade wasn't big newsflash for me. I think who was a team that wanted a tackle? I don't think it was just the Seahawks. It was another team that wanted an offensive tackle, but I can't think of which team it was. So I'm surprised that the Seahawks did trade, for this tackle and was able to get him. I think they're having some issues with that trade going through because of some physicals, but. These teams now, I feel like they're sending Like if it's me, I'm not looking for a pick and what Jeremy Lane.
Yep. It was Jeremy
I'm
Lane that was
looking.
also part of it too. But I mean,
Yeah,
Jeremy
exactly.
Lane, he's haven't been, that
Exactly.
good.
As the actor in the movie Nothing to Lose quoted, I quote, "Where's the booty?"
That's 10. That's 10. That's 10.
I'm just saying,
But you do make a fair point.
where is like shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars. I mean, heck, shoot for the Afualo.
That's 11. That's 11. See, you as good as you said that. And I know why you said that.
Yeah, I did. It was kind of
Yeah.
rough, but I mean, shoot high at least. Don't
Yes.
fade away. Don't fade away, but shoot high at least. And I just feel like Jeremy Lane and a pick for Dwayne Brown, who I think is a pretty solid tackle, who's going to, like you said, enhance the Seahawks line. That's why I didn't really want to talk about it because I thought that was more of a stupid trade. The other ones were shockers, but this one was kind of
Really?
stupid.
Because
Like, I remember,
the Jay Ajayi trade wasn't stupid either?
that's pretty shocking.
It's both shocking and stupid.
I
Shocking.
think it's, but who? I mean, clearly the Seahawks win, but the Seahawks offensive line would have been okay without acquiring Dwayne Brown. I mean, clearly the Eagles have enhanced almost 100-fold because those other two running backs, although they're young, we know Ajayi's capable of really playing well, and the Eagles are developing a Cowboy-esque offensive line. So I really think it's going to be a big move for them, and that's why I think that's a bigger move than the Texans and Seahawks trade. And then Kelvin Benjamin, I mean, I don't even know. I think having a big body to throw to, I think it's going to be great, but I wouldn't say that's stupid. I think it's shocking because I just saw him catch a touchdown against the Bucks on Sunday. So it's not due to a lack of performance. Because nobody on the Panthers receiving core really stood out or really stands out.
Nope.
So they must have some secret. Maybe they're the ones who are trying to trade for Calvin Johnson. You know what I mean? Maybe they know something that we don't know.
And that's hardly possible. Who knows? And as we get more, information towards that, we'll definitely talk about it.
Absolutely. But, I do think we do have to move on to basketball, though. I know we only have maybe one or two topics to cover in basketball. Primarily, we have some win streaks, we have a process, and then we have some losing streaks, win streaks, losing streak, process, losing streak, Cavs, shocking. Are we shocked at how they started the season? I know John Gotti always says he doesn't really follow this early in the season and really, I guess, the meter doesn't start right now.
The meter doesn't start right now because they've done the same thing 2 years ago. It happens. They've always started off slow. Certainly when LeBron was with Miami, they started off slow in that initial year. And also, they just lost to the Pacers as well, to 124 to 107. So, that's the thing. But I never look at it like that. People talking about panic modes and come to Jesus talks, within the locker room. Like,
wow.
Right now, that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. They just need to talk to each other, get each other to meld together and mend together and work together as a team. Like, by the time the All-Star break hits, they're going to be top 2 seed in the East.
Do you think it's because of even though we expected it, but the injuries to, let's say, Derrick Rose and, of course, not having Isaiah Thomas,
the-
Dwayne Wade struggling, and them having to insert, you know, J.R. Smith, and then you got Stephen A. Smith calling J.R. Smith out, and then you got LeBron being a crazy costume for Halloween. Oh, he does such a better job of picking Halloween costume than he does playing right now. Oh, I mean, is it too much?
That's all that is just distractions. Like, it's distractions to get everyone riled up, to light a flame underneath the people. That's places like ESPN and Bleacher Report, and which, shout out to Bleacher Report for being a great source of information for us. Not so much ESPN. CBS Sports, like, they say all this stuff to get the people to talk about the Cavs. But at the end of the day, when the lights clear up and the smoke disperse and we can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel, the Cavaliers is going to be one of the top 2 seeds in the East. They're going to, steamroll throughout the East, back to the finals, and no one's going to be the wiser. Every single time the Cavaliers lose a game, oh, it's the end of the world. Oh, what happened to LeBron James? Oh my goodness, the team's in disarray. I think they need to trade everyone. They need to hit the reset switch. LeBron James is gonna, retire after this season. I think he's done. Blah blah blah. No, come on, guys, stop it. There's a reason why they call LeBron James the best player in the world, because he's the best player in the world, and we've said this. I call him the best athlete in the world, but that goes without saying.
We do. So let me just read some of these highlights here, just looking over it here. Shout out to Victor Oladipo, stepping out from being a role player to going back to being a key contributor to a team.
Yes.
On the on that Pacers team. But one or two, let's say, I'm going to read this one here. I'll read this one from some random person on Twitter. I don't even want to say the name of the person. We'll just skip that part. It says, Cavs on a 4-game losing streak, and in those 4 games, Tristan Thompson has only scored a total of 13 points. I mean, not saying that that's notable, but of course I'm sure that is something that they're monitoring.
Yes.
Would you say? I mean, well, how do they fix that? Like, how do you fix that? Tristan Thompson isn't a scorer. We obviously know he disappeared in the playoffs because he had to switch his style of play. I mean, but how do we...
And kept having to defend Steph Curry all the time on pick and roll switches.
I mean, so how do you fix that? I mean, how does it get better?
It doesn't. They just let it sit there and it fixes itself.
So Tristan just basically has to keep doing what he's doing and grinding.
Exactly. And then eventually he'll have a pretty good streak of games where, he beat that dominant offensive rebounding player. And then everyone's going to shove about it. Like, that's just the problem. Like, that's why I never take the Cavaliers' distress and potential losing streaks. I don't take that stuff seriously. I never do.
So, and I think that's why I know we talked about in the pre-show here. We were going to potentially talk about the Rockets and how hot they were. And that's kind of why I'm not getting too excited, because, I want to see how we continue to grow. Obviously, we're really just playing the same basketball that we played last year. Mm-hmm. But kind of who cares, because, we kind of fizzled out, like right now, I know we talked about earlier, the Knicks and the Rockets are playing clearly Doc versus Prof for the first time in a long time.
In which the game's already over.
The game is over. But at the same time, it's like, who really cares about this game? Because it doesn't really reflect how it's going to be 60 games from now.
Exactly.
And I guess that's the whole point of people making a big deal out of the losing streak.
I mean, as a Knicks fan, I'm happy that the Knicks, was on a 3-game winning streak until tonight, but I know what's going to happen with the team. They're in rebuilding mode.
I'm not sure about that. I think that the team it's a quality team, and that's the one thing I do like about it. This team, I like what the Knicks have on paper. I really, really do. I just hope that Dolan, the Dolan effect, doesn't happen.
Well,
and that's what we always have to worry about.
Well, I'll use this in reference. One of our favorite games is SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. And Doc and Prof likes to create new moves based off moves within the game and get on new names. So,
right.
The Dolan effect, as you so eloquently stated, is in comparison the balling effect. Because that's all he's going to do to the fan base.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
He's going to teabag on our souls and laugh about it.
Wow. But that's enough of that. I have plenty of wows in there. I'm pretty sure I have plenty of wows.
Chris, could you edit out those wows for him, please?
Yeah, please edit those out.
Maybe.
But moving on here. Just a quick topic here. The NCAA playoff picture kind of came into
NCAA football playoff picture.
Correct.
Because we have both the basketball and the football season right now.
There's no playoffs in basketball though.
I know, but you know how people we have to tell people.
Basketball.
But we have to.
No.
There are playoffs in basketball.
There's no playoffs. That's a bracket. There's a tournament.
We're not talking about March Madness.
Wait, what college? What college are you talking about?
I'm talking about for each conference. There are playoffs there.
Just stop it.
You asked the question. I gave you an answer. This is what Gotti do.
Linda, listen to me, Linda.
Just stop it.
Lillian. Rules.
There's only one playoff that anybody cares about, and it's those final four people. And that's all I got to say.
It's okay.
About that.
It's okay. We also don't have baseball and volleyball and things like that, but continue.
My God, people want from me. Of course, Alabama is up there. I'm just going to delete this. I'm trying to get me and Chris are still working. I'm sorry. So, of course, Alabama and Georgia are at the top. Can we stop there? I mean, I really just think that Alabama is going to be up there, and I honestly don't think that anybody can really beat Alabama. I really, really believe that. But if we're continuing, of course, we had Georgia at number 1, Alabama number 2, Notre Dame, and Clemson. But there are so many one-loss teams that it makes things interesting.
I think that's the point.
It's true. I mean, honestly, it's kind of what you want every season.
Well, that's what happens every season, but you still have a team like Wisconsin who's undefeated, Miami who's undefeated, might not even be taken into consideration because of the strength of schedule, the conference that they play in, so on and so forth. So it's like, is it fair or foul for the teams who might not play the strongest people? Because heck, even University of Central Florida is 7-0. And they're not up there in the consideration. I mean, you remember we had Boise State a few years ago.
Yep. And I was pretty hot about that.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, is this system working? Do they need to expand the teams? How does this? I mean, what do we do here?
Well, according to the analysts, they are taking, they're making head-to-head competition hold so much more weight for these rankings. Because otherwise, I'm pretty sure Ohio State would be in the top 4, or at least number 5. But because they lost to Oklahoma in their house, Ohio State, that's why they got dropped down to 6. So I do like the fact that they're using head-to-head a lot more. I do agree, maybe, being undefeated does hold a little bit more weight, but, I mean, if you're not really defeating people that, has pretty good resumes for themselves, it kind of makes that a moot point, you know what I'm saying?
But when you but they don't have, I guess that the problem is that they don't have control over the schedule. It's not like they say, hey, we want to play Miami of Ohio. We want to play, Rutgers. We want to play freaking, the bottom of the barrel teams so that we can get undefeated. You know what I mean? Like, I think they have to take that into consideration because it's not something that they're choosing.
Yes.
They're not choosing to, they're not choosing to play these teams. They're kind of just getting stuck with these teams.
And that's why teams like Clemson and Alabama is always going to be in the running, because they play some, if not some of the toughest schedules for the season because of the conference that they're playing in.
And I guess that's where a team, I'm trying to think, I want to say it was Notre Dame, or what team was that? There was a team who did switch conferences.
Well, Boise went to, I think, the Big East.
But the Big East, ugh.
I know.
The Big East. I mean, basketball, sure. Football,
not so
I'm not
much.
Sure. I would have probably went to like maybe the ACC or a team, probably a conference that at least has some competition.
Big 10, Big 12.
Big 10, Big 12, yeah, something like that.
But that's what's hurting Wisconsin, because they don't have a strong resume at all.
But you know what? Here's my thing, man. And I say this only because I grew up in this area. Clemson is a very interesting case study of how to turn that around. If you look at Clemson's schedule strength, even 20 years ago, it was not what it is right now. But they accomplished that through winning, through strengthening their program, by petitioning the NCAA for harder games.
Yeah.
And
but how do you petition, though? How does that petition look? I mean, I'm just curious. How does that petition look?
You gotta...
really, honestly, I should say lobbying.
There you go. That's probably the better word.
That's more accurate.
And you lobby by, showing body of work. You lobby by showing fan base. You lobby by getting more TV interest.
TV interest. Okay.
Because that makes a lot more, it holds a lot more weight for, football committees who handle scheduling to give you much more harder games, because those are now prime time games. And we all know for any sport, anything that's a prime time game is the game to watch.
I mean, honestly, look at Clemson and University of South Carolina. 15, 16 miles apart from each other. USC was on top at the beginning of 2000s.
They were.
And now they're just slowly falling, slowly fading.
Well, it doesn't help with all the, trouble they got in, so...
I mean, dude, look, honestly, they had a Heisman-winning running back in the early 90s get popped with cocaine. Like, it's not the first time they've come across some controversy.
What, right? For USC?
Yes.
Let's not forget about Reggie Bush. He had to forfeit his Heisman Trophy.
He did.
This is also true.
And that was pretty, not recent, but that was in, the 2000s.
It was.
It is also true.
It was.
So, I mean, again, a school can bounce back from controversy if they do it correctly. That's not even the necessarily a determining factor. The determining factor is what you do about it and how you conduct yourself at all points.
At all points. I mean, look at Penn State. Penn State was on... excuse me. Penn State was banned from bowl games for a couple of years, and now they're bounced back and they're in the top 10 right now. Like, that's just showing body of work and being able to redeem themselves from all the issues that they went through.
I commend the people who hung around and for Penn State, honestly.
I will agree with
really
that.
do.
I will agree with that.
Because remember when Christian Hackenberg hung in for Penn State, and a lot of those players hung in, knowing that they couldn't play a bowl game and things like that. That's kind of what helped that program stay in existence. Because had those guys not sacrificed really their futures, so to speak, I mean, you'd be surprised. Like a lot of guys could have transferred easily. Christian Hackenberg easily could have probably went and started for several different schools. But the fact that he stuck around makes a big deal, bro.
That's true.
I will agree with that.
Big deal.
So then,
in a terrible position.
So then, Doc, the people, they're doing the screen in my ear. They said, ask this guy a question. Ask him this question. They're over the chat rooms. They're in my ear. Chris is telling me to cut it out. They're not asking the question. Well, ask him anyway.
Hilarious.
Who of the four do you feel do not belong in the top four, and who would you replace them with? And the same question going to go to you, Duke.
So I think that's an unfair fair question for the people. I mean, clearly, I'm not going to take the four out because they deserve to be there. I think that's where the flaw comes in, where maybe it shouldn't be the top six. Maybe it should be the top 8 or the top 10. Maybe the first 2 people get a bye, and then we have a few games after that. Make it a real playoffs, not just you lose, you're out of there. You go play in a bowl game. If you lose, you're out of there. You go play here, and there. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it should be expanded. But I wouldn't take anybody out. I would love to see these top 4 teams play here as they revealed it.
Well, we already talked about some of the undefeated teams that are not in the top 6. So do you feel like any of them should be in those top 6 then?
I think the only team that I would throw up there, would have to be Wisconsin, and most likely I would probably drop Ohio State because of the way they lost. I think Penn State's loss to Ohio. I guess it would have to be Penn State, actually, now that I think about it, because of the way Ohio State beat Penn State, even though Ohio State lost to Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma.
I think Oklahoma, excuse me, that's right. Baker Mayfield, the whole planting the flag in the middle. That's right.
Which I still love.
Of course. So it would have to be, I would have to drop Penn State and put in Wisconsin if it was me.
Well, Penn State is number 7.
Right. I would have, as I'm saying, Penn State would have to fall further down. I would have to bring Wisconsin up. Oh, I wouldn't really drop the top 6 here. But if I was going to move anybody, I guess it wouldn't be anybody. Penn State would be the only person that I would drop. I think Wisconsin would be number 7 looking in for the next loss.
I can see that. Sir Duke, what do you think?
All right, are we playing Jingle with this top 10?
We're playing.
Is that what we're doing right now?
I guess so. Doc kind of expanded it, so let's make it so.
I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you can. I mean, you really can do however you choose. Look, I can't rob these guys out of the top because the people are asking.
That's
yes,
12.
Miami should be up there if we're talking about wins and losses, but I mean, I'm not going to rob people.
I mean, okay, I agree with you about the whole Ohio State one. I don't necessarily know who I'll replace them with. It probably would be, if we bump them out, everyone else for the most part just shifts up, and then taking that number 10 spot, I would probably say Washington, honestly.
You said who?
Pac-12 team.
Okay.
Right now they're at 12, but I'd put them up over Oklahoma State, and only really because that Pac-10 is gruesome sometimes.
I mean, they're very competitive, though.
They are.
Very competitive.
I feel like there's a lot of, playoff implication games out there, but I feel like, and I really do like what Baker Mayfield's been doing this year, and he can most likely definitely be a Heisman candidate. His game, his team against Oklahoma State will determine whether or not Oklahoma will break that glass ceiling and be in the top 4. If they lose this game, they are not making the playoffs.
Agreed. I will say, though, as far as Heisman go, I mean, it's over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's over. Barkley, savor the plus.
Savor the plus.
That's all I can really say.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm gonna definitely try to watch a lot of the games, and we'll definitely talk a little bit more about that next week.
Absolutely. So, I mean, obviously we were talking about the playoffs. Don't you talk about playoffs. We're just trying to win another game.
Trying to win another game.
Of course, there are some... I guess we're moving on to the square circle where there are no other games being played for certain individuals. The WWE has shockingly released Emma right after the pay-per-view.
Right after her Raw match against Asuka.
I don't really care about that Raw match. The pay-per-view was really important against Asuka, Darren Young, and Summer Rae. Outside of Darren Young and Summer Rae, are you shocked about the release for Emma, or is this just WWE being WWE?
This is WWE being WWE, and they're gonna, learn to regret their decision because Emma was a heck of a worker for them.
I thought she was getting over. I really did think that it was a good time for her. Honestly, I thought they should have allowed her to beat Asuka. Of course, it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But I really did think they should have allowed her to beat Asuka.
See, the problem with letting her beat Asuka is the fact that Asuka just joined the main roster. Plus, she's still undefeated. Like, why would you let, someone who's been undefeated in NXT lose her first match? That doesn't make any sense. And I understand why you would say that, but it just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, to me, it makes sense only because it's like it is time for them to push. Because you know what's going to happen. I mean, they'll say, hey, she's undefeated, and all of a sudden she'll lose to, I don't know, name any other person that she's going to really lose to. You know what I mean? Like, she's going to lose to somebody else, and it's going to be even worse. So
Stephanie McMahon calling it.
She'll probably lose to Ronda Rousey.
That'd be even worse.
And that's what I'm saying.
That right there. That is vomit-inducing.
Dude,
I'm just telling you.
Ronda needs a win right now. All right.
Ronda
needs something.
Wow.
Ronda needs something. And what she needs is training.
Sure, that's where you're going with that.
Actually, that was exactly where I was going with that.
No, you don't have to explain. I know you don't want to put anything in the jar.
Wow.
Wow. From behind the blinds.
I get it. But, speaking of the blinds, open, shut, up, down. Leo Rush was under fire here for his comments on the firing of Emma, or the mutual release, as they called it.
Mutual release.
Fair or foul?
Worse.
Fair or foul?
I mean, he's not used to working for a wrestling organization that has a thing called pride. People say stuff about each other in the indies all the time, and either they take it with a grain of salt or they get in each other's faces. He just has to learn.
But it wasn't really Emma who was like...
I know, it was everyone else.
That's why I was kind of like, why is everybody else so salty? And she hasn't said anything really, what the heck? You know what I mean? That's why I was kind of like, what's going on here? I don't know. It just I'm sorry. I had a little slip there because I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Like what?
I mean,
what in the world?
that's just the whole oversensitivity thing. Like.
But he's a 5'6" rookie.
He is a 5'6" rookie.
I mean, that's why he's in NXT, to learn the way of the land.
Which is why they shouldn't take it seriously. But the problem is they took it seriously.
That's why I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, like, I hope he doesn't get let go because of this.
I don't know if he'll be let go. I think. Well, I mean, who doesn't have to learn life lessons? Life is steady, but that's besides the point. But what might end up happening is he might turn into a jobber in NXT, and not the kind of enhancement talent jobber, but like an actual jobber. Like he'll basically get like the Triple H treatment.
It's gonna be kind of like a, hey, you're gonna be Jay Lethal before Jay Lethal became Jay Lethal.
Wow.
I mean, wouldn't you agree Jay Lethal took a beating before he became who he is today?
No, he had a couple of really good, decent runs. He was going to be the TNA champion, but he had a lot of really good runs. He had a great feud with Ric Flair. He had a lot of great matches.
I'm talking about before that.
He was still in some pretty good programs, going after the X Division title, and he also won the TNA tag titles with Consequences Creed, aka.
I'm talking about before that.
He was in the Indies.
He was he was getting beat up before that.
But who doesn't get beat up though, other than the chosen few?
Well, see, and I guess that's the thing that's kind of ridiculous because I mean, Lio Rush could be a chosen few.
No,
he
won't.
He's the spark that 205 probably needs.
We said that same thing about Neville, and he left.
Neville was a repackaged cruiserweight. He really should have been up for something else, but they didn't know what to do with him, so they kind of just repackaged him to, get Enzo over, which I don't think they had the whole idea of him becoming cruiserweight champion was to get this guy over, because who knew that Cass would go down? You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even know if this whole thing is working anyway with this whole cruiserweight division. Period. So I don't know, but as far as Lio Rush goes, I really do hope that he doesn't become a jobber. That'd be disheartening. That'd be disheartening.
I wouldn't be too surprised if it happens, though.
Yeah, true. That's true. But in other news, I know the Bullet Club was pretty excited about Darren Young being, fired here or released, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stating, hey, you can come, join us, sir. Come on down to the Bullet Club. We're gonna do it.
Some candy in my van.
Hey, Now I'm not excited anymore.
It's hard to be excited about it. I mean, when was the last time we took Darren Young seriously?
I don't think I ever took Darren Young seriously.
Bingo. And maybe, he does join the Bullet Club and, he does his thing. I mean, many people join the Bullet Club and they made name for themselves.
I mean, hopefully he gets a chance to be a different person. I think that would be pretty sweet. If he gets a chance to be more aggressive, just be a completely different person. It would just be interesting to see him in a more aggressive role, not this I'm black, comical, I don't want to show off as angry, but I'm going to get hyped, bro.
That's pretty much Apollo Crews to the T right there.
I mean, Apollo Crews is... But Apollo Crews is you can tell he's a nice guy. You can tell he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
You could just tell.
You just know these things. You just
You
know.
just like, it's not just the fact that he smiles all the time. Like you can tell genuinely he's a nice guy. Like he just wants to smile and have a good time.
Sometimes you just gotta get mean. Sometimes you gotta show a little nasty.
I think him and Bailey would go heel at the same time.
And one of the people that we really like, Patrick Clark, aka Velveteen Dream, he shows that nasty side.
Yeah, he really did a good job transforming, and I didn't think he had it in him, but he's really transformed into something spectacular. I really like what he's done, and I hope he continues.
I can't wait for his match against Aleister Black.
I can't either.
No, that's going to be a great match. It's going to have a lot of good ring psychology, which is something that's been missing in the main roster.
True.
It's been missing.
True.
It's been a lot of gimmick fights.
I can agree with that. But I think it is time, sir.
It's Vader time?
For the fight. No. It's time for the final thoughts.
Alright. Well, let's start it off with the Duke. What do you have for your final thoughts this week, sir?
Duke.
Alright, I'm gonna start out with something a little sad, and then we're gonna move on to the lighter end of the pool. So, shout out to everybody up in Manhattan. It seems to be happening more recently or more frequently, I should say, than anyone thought, predicted, or wanted. But, apparently we have a serious mental health / radicalization problem going on in this country. So, hopefully we can find a way to combat that in a manner that makes most everybody happy. Secondly, we were talking about it a little bit before the show, but everybody get ready for this EMP training event that is supposed to be happening over the course of this weekend. I repeat, just an exercise. No War of the Worlds going on over here. So if you are in one of the areas that is affected, just know it should return shortly. If not, I don't really know who you're going to call because your phone won't work. But, and then, moving on to my third and probably most gleeful aspect, we are prepping up for what I consider to be Comic Palooza. We got a slew of new comics hitting the stands between this month and next month. Not to mention Thor Ragnarok coming out tomorrow. We got Black Panther hitting in February. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp hitting not too long after that. And Avengers Infinity War hitting right after that one. So I'm hyped. Get my face painted and, coming up with every excuse that I can to go hit the movies in these upcoming months. That's about it. That's all I got.
Nice. Appreciate that, sir. Doc, what you got?
So, number one, shout out to the Dukies being AP voted number one. In your face, Mac and J Rich.
Shots fired.
Secondly, we went to Tampa. I'm going to say lastly because I'm not doing any more after that. We went to Tampa, and I don't know if my phone's going to be able to handle more than this last final thought. So, shout out to Chris for not getting things done. That was sarcasm.
Wow.
We went to Tampa to watch my Buccaneers play. Shout out to my lovely wife. who was able to secure these tickets right next to the ship where we heard, unfortunately, several explosions before the game, none necessarily during the game, except for a short field goal. But great experience. I was happy to be out there in Tampa, in the stadium. I just thought it was a great experience. It really put things into perspective for me. It really showed me where I should be. I need to be there at the game with the people, seeing the games live. And, I talked to the Professor John Guy, the King of the Control Master of Data, the conqueror of data, the guy who eats data with his teeth. How I basically have been, going to high school games just to get the feels of being around football. I think watching a pro football live kind of gives you a glimpse of how football really is supposed to be played, but also just seeing people blocking, the touchdowns, the celebrations, halftime, everything, getting souvenir cups and asking for beer but getting lemonade. The works.
That was pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie.
And it's so terrible that she didn't understand what I was saying, but I was trying not to be rude because that's not what the doc does. But the whole experience was great, and I do appreciate you coming out, brother.
Hey, anytime, man. I'm looking forward to next year. Unfortunately, we won't be able to attend EVO, but the plan is to attend San Diego Comic-Con and possibly New York Comic-Con. That's my two aims for 2018. And hope we can have the entire Debates Among Friends family.
Just make sure, because I think we didn't talk about it last week, and you were mad.
That's gonna be part of my.
Okay.
I'm
sorry. Okay.
No. I was gonna make sure because I felt really, really bad because I missed it two weeks in a row, and I'm like, I know it's something I need to talk about as soon as we get off the air. Dang it!
Now it's a double release.
So I don't know if you finished with yours, so I can go. I just didn't
you
sound
please. I'm just gonna mute. If my phone dies, taste the ocean.
If it dies, it dies. So I'm gonna start off with something that was interesting that I found out. And shout out to Four Eyes for getting this information because I wouldn't know this unless I seen it on his social media account. So this Monday, the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, faced off against an enhancement talent, aka Jobber, named Stacey Collin on Raw. But what you don't know is Stacey Collin's real name is, probably shouldn't say that on people, but she actually have already posted, Casey Catal. And she is from New Jersey. I want to give a big shout out to Casey for A, represent New Jersey proper, B, being a great enhancement talent to get someone over. It's easy to say that you're a wrestler. It's hard to make someone else look good. And she did a great job with it. So I'm going to give her massive kudos for that. My second final thought, and it's something that the doc talked about, and I'm going to finally discuss it. Evolution 2018.
It's a mystery.
Is that 13? Is that 13 or 14?
I'm pretty sure that's 14.
Okay, that's 14. Evolution 2018 is announced. This year will not be happening in mid-July. It is actually being pushed to the beginning of August. And I believe that there is a new trailer out there. So if you get yourself a chance, look under the Evo Twitter account at Evo or SureYouCan.com and check out the trailer for it. It's pretty intense. Like I mentioned before, Debates Among Friends will not be there this year. Unfortunately, we've been there for the past 2 years, but we will we're planning on having other obligations that's going to conflict with the scheduling. So, possibly next year, that's definitely the plan. And sticking with the FGC, the Canada Cup went final on Sunday. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk about, other than Knuckle placing 4th, Punk placing 13th, and Smug placing 25th, is two things. The first one, Dogura, who won the entire thing. Wow. His Urian is legit. Especially against Itabashi Zangief, in which the Doctor had a great pleasure of watching play live during the top 8 for EVO last year. He was the Zangief character.
Did you say Urian candidate?
No. Nor did I say Manchurian candidate, but I digress.
Digress, please. I'm sorry.
He got a double perfect on Itabashi Zangief with his Urian, which was absolutely insane. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about, because one of my favorite characters in the game, which is Laura. Just because, A, she has a great design, B, it's just something about her that just draws me to her. And I usually play with like Ken, so, But 801 Strider put in so much work with his Laura. Now I want to give him a big shout out. Gustavo, you did your thing, man. During the weekend, I had the chance to watch a lot of your matches, and I mean, you put people on notice, man. You had a strong outing over here. He also qualified for the Capcom Cup in December, for placing where he placed. So, big shout outs for him. I can't wait to watch him in December. It will be taking place in Anaheim, California. I don't know if I'll be able to make it because, we all have lives and have to work and stuff. But his Laura is legit as well, too. And that's it for me as far as our final thoughts. Tonight's track, since the other day was the day of Halloween, I have a special track coming to you from Scott Bradley's Postmodern Jukebox. You heard us play one of their tracks before, and they're back again. This is a cover of the Michael Jackson's classic Thriller in a 1930s style. But what makes this track special is the person doing the vocals, and that is Wayne Brady. But we want to thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you had yourself a great time here. Be sure to catch us every single Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both YouTube and on Twitch. Follow the Beta Monk Friends at Facebook, facebook.com/TheBetaMonkFriends. Also join the Beta Monk Friends group, facebook.com/group/TheBetaMonkFriends. You can post on there. You can talk to us. We're actively engaged in there. So anything you have as far as sports, as far as just anything pop media, definitely put in there. And, one of the Beta Monk Friends compatriots will respond and just be engaging with you. Follow our Twitter account at TheBetaMonkFra. You could follow myself at Ken86 on Twitter. You could follow the Doc at TL and you can also follow the Duke via Carrier Pigeon. Just be sure to look in the sky and don't open up your mouth.
Or your eyes.
Well, I mean, sometimes, people...
touch.
This is true. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. We'll catch you again next time. I am the Professor John Gotti. And he is the Doc.
And the Duke.
And we'll catch you again next time, ladies and gentlemen. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. Peace and love.
Howdy, 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 ho. Howdy, 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 hey. Howdy, 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 ho. All right. Listen, girl, I'm not like all these other fellas. It's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in the dark. Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart. You try to scream, oh, but terror takes the sound before you make it. Yeah, you start to freeze as horror looks you right between your eyes. You're paralyzed, 'cause this is thriller night, and no one's gonna save you from the beast about to strike. You know it's thriller night. You're fighting for your life inside a killer thriller tonight. Hey, ladies. You hear the door slam and realize there's nowhere left to run. Oh, you feel the cold hand and wonder if you'll ever see the sun. You close your eyes and hope that this is just imagination, girl. But all the while, you hear a creature creeping up behind. Oh, you're out of time. Oh, this is thriller night, and there ain't no second chance against a thing with 40 eyes. This is thriller night. You're fighting for your life inside a killer thriller tonight. Oh, night creatures call, and the dead start to dance in their masquerade. Oh, there's no escaping the jaws of the alien this time. Open wide, it's the end of your life. Oh. Oh, this is thriller night. Oh, I can thrill you more than any ghoul would ever try. This is thriller night. So let me hold you tight and share up thriller. This is thriller. Oh, thriller tonight. Girl, I can thrill you more than any ghoul would ever try. This is thriller, oh, thriller tonight. Girl, let me hold you tight inside of thriller, killer. Thriller, killer, chiller. I fulfill you, girl, I'll be your thriller tonight.